say that the recent events in Dallas and Louisiana has impacted our nation tremendously is an understatement.
Yeah.
Our next speaker had an event impact him intimately. While at home, this one-time off-duty Bexar County deputy had his faith and humility tested. In 1987, a burglar made his way into the deputy's home in the middle of the night while everyone was asleep. At some point, the deputy was alerted and he engaged the suspect, which led to a fight that extended outside the home. After doing battle to restrain the burglar, the deputy waited for authorities to arrive. Back inside the home, the deputy's family made a shocking discovery. Within the crib, in another room, lay the family's infant son, who awoke after hearing someone walk around the house. The burglar heard the child, and in his attempt to quiet the child, the burglar intentionally caused a knife wound to the infant. Faith, humility, and forgiveness are words taken for granted. Strength, endurance, and Christian character are action words which could bring about peace. Deuteronomy 31 verse 6, Jesus tells us to be of good courage and fear not, for he walks with us. He promises never to forsake or leave us. I believe God's word, and our next speaker also believes God's word. Brethren, please welcome our State Representative, District 118, John Lujan.
All right, Brother John.
Thank you. My name is John Lujan, and I'm State Representative for District 118. I'm also a retired San Antonio firefighter, and it's good to see Fire Station 2's out here, which was my first fire station when I came in. I was a rookie. I went in there, and I worked there many years. They're a busy station. They're very, very busy. And then I also worked with the sheriff's office. I worked 6.5 years prior to the fire department. I was a deputy sheriff for 6.5 years. And now I'm a state representative for our area out here, and I'm so proud. Thank you.
All right, brother.
You know, Nathan shared with you a story. I didn't know he was going to share it this morning, but he shared a story when I was young and I was in the sheriff's department. I don't even know if I've shared this with you, Sheriff Parmelo, but I had somebody break into my house and cut my son. He cut him to shut him up. He was 13 months old. He was a baby, and he had 4 slices across his neck, 43 stitches, and he had 4 puncture wounds where he stabbed him. Doctors and everybody said he should have been dead. They said it was a miracle. But I'm going to tell you, at this time, I was a Christian, I'm serving God and everything, but at this time in my life, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to lie from the pulpit, I wasn't following God, and I had strayed away from God, and I knew better, but I was doing my own thing. I was doing things I shouldn't have done. I wasn't a good husband. I was not a good father. And it's a long story, and brother, I don't want to preach a sermon this morning, but it's a story of forgiveness. I went through a whole year of hatred and anger, and I just could not forgive that guy. My wife and I were going to get ready to file for a divorce. I've been married 32 years, thank God. And my son that was cut, he survived, and I didn't see the blessings of the survival. I didn't even thank God for it. I was still angry that God even allowed that to happen to me. And I wasn't serving God at the time. I was messed up in my head. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with a gun looking for somebody. I would pray, God, send me somebody that needed to die. I'll kill him. I was that messed up in my head, full of anger and hatred. And it was because I didn't want to forgive. And it wasn't until we were in the courthouse and he got found guilty and they were going through the punishment phase. My dad's a pastor, and for those who know my dad, he's kind of a strict man. Everything's yes sir, no sir, like that kind of my dad. Amen for that. And I go over there and my dad says, we're in the courthouse. He says, we're going to bow our heads, you're going to forgive him. I said, there's no way I can forgive this guy, what he did. I felt like a pit bull with a chain, and every time I saw that guy in court, I wanted to get him so bad. I was so angry. And my dad says, you're going to forgive him. But he's going to, and my dad, I'll never forget, he said, you don't forgive him for his sake. You forgive him for your sake. Because God created us not to have that hatred and anger inside of us and that unforgiveness. And I've been able to share this story with you. And if there's anybody out here that's having trouble forgiving an ex-wife, an ex-husband, a child, a neighbor, or something, I'm telling you, that you can't function that way. You can't. God, how can you have a relationship with God when you got all that interference in the way? You've got to let that go. In that courtroom, I prayed and I truly forgave the guy that cut my son. And I'm telling you, I didn't read in a book. I didn't hear a preacher. I experienced it. I felt a weight off my shoulders, just boom. I could breathe again. I could smile again. I could do those things. But it wasn't until I did that. And I share that with you because I kind of shared that testimony and you kind of threw me off a little, but I'm glad I got to share that. What I wanted to do is I also wanted to tell you that I pray very hard for our first responders. being a firefighter and a deputy sheriff, that meant a lot to me. I worked in 3 years in the old Bexar County Jail, 3.5 years in Warrens. Brother, I worked with you there in those days, man. We cut people down that hung themselves. We broke up fights. We were involved in altercations, all those kind of things. As a firefighter, most of my tough runs were probably at 2s, making house fires, shootings, stabbings, overdoses, all those kind of things. They see it all. And I'm telling you, as a community, we need to honor our first responders. We need to pray for them. What we're doing this morning is a great thing. What we're doing this morning, honoring these men, I'm telling you, it resonates. Children, you see this? This is what we need to teach our children. Respect and love for our first responders. Very, very important.
Yeah.
I want to finish on one thing. Because I don't want anybody to have a bad impression of me. I know I came in late. I teach Sunday school. I've been doing it for 20 years at my church, and I got a big youth group. And so I finished Sunday school, and then I flew over here. That's why I was a little late. But what I want to tell you, our lesson this morning was talking about living a productive life. God has called us to be productive. And there's 3 things that I just want to share with you on our lesson, because I taught it this morning. And the first one, that we need to take initiative. We need to take initiative, not just be lazy, sit around, but be moving, doing something. God, what do you want me to do? God, what? Because it's the lazy person that begins to really destroy our society. So we don't want to be that. Teach your children that. And if you're like that, come up to the altar afterwards, throw it away, and start taking initiative. Second thing I want to tell you to do is prepare for the future. Prepare for the future by training today. Your grades, your schools, everything. And if you're older, start reading. Get involved in organizations. Do the things that we got to do to prepare for the future. And the last thing is hard work produces great results. That's very, very important. Those 3 things, taking initiative, preparing, and then hard work, giving good results, are the things that our firefighters, our police officers, deputy sheriffs, that's what they have done, and that's what they're doing today. And I'm thankful to be here to honor them. Thank you very much for letting me be here. I appreciate it. I'm honored. Thank you very, very much.
Amen. Amen. All right, y'all.